Uganda nalulungiwa kune gwange donde yazalibwa mu nze Uganda yange n'okujagala sasoma wabula butonde kankula museko mama Uganda ekkula ly'Afrika bwakedde tweyagalira eno bona kibalumira eri abatafuna kwebyo birungi Uganda byerina kwagala nnyo Uganda
tubaaniriza ku pulogulaamu tulambule wano ku KBS TV buli lwa Sande essaawa 4:2 ez'ekiro. Olunaku olwaleero tugenda kutunuulira Mountain Elgon National Park. Katugende butereevu ow'omukulu akulira ekifo kino atuyisizeemu ku bitono ebigikwatako.
My name is Samuel Amanya and I'm the Chief Warden for Mount Elgon Conservation Area, which actually includes Mount Elgon National Park, Pianupe Wildlife Reserve, Ukora Wildlife Reserve and Matheniko Wildlife Reserve. Here Mount Elgon National Park, where I'm based, our headquarters are located in Mbale City, the senior quarters, while the rest of the park is just like 10 kilometers from us where we are. And you can clearly see it probably in the background. Mount Elgon National Park is one of those wonderful 10 national parks in Uganda, and its unique values or its establishment largely is that it's a water tower for this region. We conserve it, we conserve the forest, we conserve the mountain for purposes of providing water services. There are a number of streams, number of rivers. So far we have about 79 rivers. Out of those, 16 are major rivers, 25 are small rivers, and others, some are seasonal, but they all serve a number of districts, about 56 districts combining Uganda and Kenya, or equivalent of the districts in Kenya. Now, all these communities that are surrounding the forest directly depend on those rivers that come and bring in water for irrigation, for domestic use, and other purposes. But also the forest is a good source of rainfall. If you have through the hydrological cycle, we are able to get a number of longer seasons for cultivation compared probably other parts of the country, and that's why this region has the highest human population, because every crop, every seed you put in the soil is able to come back, is able to give you a big harvest, because there is sufficient or good weather that can facilitate such. Now, Mount Elgon National Park, it's good for tourism also. We have a number of trails. We have Bushie Trail, we have Sipi Trail, Piswa Trail, all those which lead to the peak up in the mountain. Both of all those trails, each of them to reach the mountain, it can take maybe 3, others are 3 days, others are 4, 5, others are 6, maximum 6. You're able to go the mountain and return having hiked a height of 4,321 height or meters above sea level. And you'll meet the caldera, which is about 8 kilometer wide area, the second largest actually globally. And it's quite a unique feature to find yourself at the top of the mountain, and it's flat area. Many tourists are attracted to that. Mount Elgon, given its beauties, indeed it is an attraction to many other activities that at times are desirable because of its fertile soils. There's a lot of temptations many times to have some local communities who want to attempt to encroach, but it's always our duty. Our forces are always on the ground to ensure that the encroachers are always educated, sensitized, or pushed back where they cannot understand the message of conservation. Overall, the local communities and their leaders, particularly leaders, are very supportive when it comes to reaching out to the people to ensure that they do not promote illegal activities within the conservation area. Other than Mount Elgon, a tourist coming this region can also go to Pianope, where now you have access to the Savannah Park, to see savannah animals, the big mammals, as you can find there giraffes, you can find there elands, you see waterbucks, you see roan antelopes, ostriches, and if you want to see more ostriches, you can proceed to Matheniko Bokora, where you will find a number of them, of course, some other unique animals like the gazelles. So this region, generally Mount Elgon Conservation Area, protected areas, they provide a big niche or an opportunity to fulfill what we call the Eastern tourism circuit. Altogether, they connect Jinja with the Kidepo, and the tourists coming to this region can have a complete circuit of the beauties that the Eastern Uganda has to offer compared to other parts of this country.
Agamba nti ekitebe kisangibwa mu kibuga Mbale era okuyingira park ziri kilomita 10 n'okuva ku kitebe. Yemu ku paaka ezisinga okulabika obulungi nga bw'ogiraba emabegaawo. Okuteekebwawo kwayo okusinga nti munaala gwa mazzi eri ekitundu kino. Ekikuumisa olusozi luno mulimu ebibira n'emigga. Omuwendo gw'emigga giringa 279 ku migga egyo 16 minene, emigga emitono 25 n'emirala. Byonna biweereza disitulikiti eziwerako nga 56 nga zigatta Uganda ne Kenya. Kati ebitundu bino byonna ebyetoolodde ebibira bisinziira butereevu ku migga egyo egijja ne gireeta amazzi okufukirira, okukozesa ewaka n'ebigendererwa ebirala. Naye era ekibira kivaamu enkuba ennungi. Era y'ensonga lwaki osanga ekitundu kino kirina omuwendo gw'abantu ogusinga obunene, kuba buli kirime, buli nsigo gy'oteeka mu ttaka esobola okuwa amakungula amanene. Kati Mount Elgon National Park nungi mu by'obulambuzi, ate era erina emitendera egiwerako. Ekyo kiviirako olusozi entikko, buli kimu okutuuka ku lusozi kiyinza okutwala ennaku 3 ku 5. Tusobola okugenda ku lusozi ne tudda nga tulinnye, tusobola okugenda ku lusozi ne tudda nga tulinnye obuwanvu bwa mita 4,321.
Mount Elgon National Park is so vital to the culture of the people around it, particularly the Gishu community, who access some of the allowable resources. They can harvest the dry wood, they can harvest mushrooms, honey, upon having received the permission, and before they get such a permission, it is scrutinized and we give conditions to ensure that the utilization of the resource is not over and above what the ecosystem can be able to provide, which then would become unsustainable. One cause benefit that they realize from the park is the malewa, and this is what we call bamboo. Bamboo, when still young, in other words, it is called bamboo shoots. They are liked, they are harvested by the local communities, and they are mixed with the nuts, and they provide a very nice sauce for any recipe you have. So visiting any Gisu family, you'll be served you'll be served with with Balewa and it's a delicacy, and then that's demonstrate that you're a respected visitor to the family. So the communities surrounding, including the cultural leadership of this region, the Gisu, they are all keen to ensure that the conservation area is protected and Malewa continues to be available for the generations and generations to come.
Bw'ogeraageranya ebitundu ebirala eby'eggwanga lino, Mount Elgon National Park kikulu nnyo eri obuwangwa bw'abantu abagyetoolodde naddala ekibiina kya Gisu ekifuna ebimu ku bikozesebwa ebikkirizibwa. Bayinza okukungula enku enkalu, omubisi gw'enjuki, kulukusa.
Is known to be a carbon sink. A carbon sink, it means the trees have the ability to do carbon sequestration. That is, trees breathe in carbon dioxide and they give us oxygen. And this carbon dioxide they breathe in is that carbon that has been generated by factories, by these automobiles. And once it is not absorbed by the trees, eventually it goes into the atmosphere, and it creates the situation like global warming, and before you know it, that's when you hear effects of climate change. So Mount Elgon National Park does precisely that, reducing carbon from the atmosphere. And those who know how much it costs, the total carbon that is extracted or that is kept by Mount Elgon National Park is estimated to be about 3.8 million tons. Now 3.8 million tons, the markets vary. You can sell a ton at $10, at $20, at $50, even $100, depending who is buying in the market. So, but generally, it can the total carbon stocks that are in Mount Elgon can be up to the tune of about 2.3 or 2.8 trillion Ugandan shillings. So now that kind of value, it cannot easily be understood or appreciated by the local people. But those who have studied science know that if that entire 3.8 tons of carbon are released and emitted in the atmosphere, there will be havoc here. There will be havoc in the region. So the international community is always there to help us, support us. The national budgets are there to ensure that Mount Elgon continues to serve its purpose of absorbing carbon, among other purposes. Recently, Mount Elgon National Park was nominated under UNESCO, under the Man and Biosphere program, to be a transboundary Man and Biosphere reserve, because part of Mount Elgon is in Kenya and another part in Uganda. Actually, about 75% of Mount Elgon landscape is in Uganda. What is in Uganda is the national park. What is in Kenya is both the national park, then after a forest reserve. Now, to manage Mount Elgon National Park, you need to engage the stakeholders in Kenya to ensure that the activities done here do not harm any of the activities or interest in Kenya and vice versa. So for that reason, the UNESCO and other partners came together and pushed it. The process took like 10 years to have Mount Elgon National Park and in both Uganda and Kenya be nominated as a transboundary Man and Biosphere Reserve. Man and Biosphere Reserve because we recognize the role of the people who are around Mount Elgon, that you cannot conserve or protect Mount Elgon when you have not involved the people surrounding it. Therefore, recently, yes, on 28th of March 2025, Uganda and Kenya met in Swam which is at the border within Mount Elgon, to sign a historical memorandum of understanding that provides for closer collaboration between Uganda authorities and Kenyan authorities in the management of Mount Elgon, be it enforcement matters, carrying out like joint operations in the forest, planning together to establish tourism facilities in the mountain, engaging the local communities using the same approach, just to ensure that the protected area continues to survive for generations. Yes, thank you very much for visiting Mount Elgon National Park.
Sawa,